From the 28-yard line of Auburn. Bama going left to right. Rice gets the snap, knee high. Looks, throws the fade route, near side end zone. Got it! Caught! Touchdown, Alabama! Caught by Ja'Cory Brooks in the end zone.
And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game!
And Alabama has come from nowhere to defeat the Auburn Tigers in multiple overtimes.
Welcome, Tide Tigers, episode 13, your NFL Combine special. Chance, we're in kind of the dog days of sports right now.
Is the Combine already?
Yeah, it is the Combine already. I know we just did the Super Bowl, but it is the Combine. There's people going this week in Indianapolis. This is the biggest job interview of their life. We'll get to our Combine special and the players in just a minute, but this is the dog days of sports. Football is over. Basketball really hasn't gotten serious yet. Baseball hasn't started yet. Hockey is trying to ramp up some things with the thing they had with the USA and Canada. But we're trying to get through to get to March Madness, to get to the NBA playoffs, to finally get back to football again. So I guess I'm gonna start a little new segment until we get to where the meat and potatoes is, and that's gonna be Tide and Tigers headlines. So these are some headlines. I wanted to just throw things at you, get your opinion on them, and then we go over kind of a little bit of what's happening right now. So first we'll go.
Hold on, where was it?
Where was what? No, I don't
You didn't prepare me for
I don't need you to study. That's what I'm saying. This is just me.
I just had to read. That's not studying.
No. This is just you responding back to things that are happening and then getting your best opinion on it. All right. So first we're going to start with the tush push. Supposedly Goodell hates it. They're talking about banning it in the NFL. What's your opinion on that?
When a play works so good that they have to consider banning it, I think that's just a broken system. I think the play should stay. If you can't stop a bunch of people by putting a bunch of stronger people on the other side, I feel like that was kind of what you were taught in Pee Wee football. Yeah. You just, on QB sneaks and stuff, you're just trying to strongest man wins. Yeah. That's all the tush push is. Strongest man wins. The Eagles do it so well because they have a quarterback who can squat 600 pounds. Yeah. That's a lot different than putting somebody like Mahomes back there.
Well, it was changing games so much. Everybody would be doing it, and everybody would be winning.
Exactly. So it's two certain players' calibers that can pull it off, but you've got the quarterbacks like Cam Newton that used to do the jumping over the line. Oh yeah. I'm sure they were wanting to make that illegal at one point.
Yeah, if so easy, Josh Allen would have got it a couple times in the Bills-Chiefs game. I mean, just being honest. So I think this is more about a team. You can't just stop it. But like NFL has done so many weird things lately, from the kickoff, them getting closer on the kickoff, the onside kick rule now. Like I know they flirted with letting a team
moving it to the 35.
Yes, but now they're like talking about maybe doing a 4th down and 20 conversion for an onside kick or something. They do that in Pee Wee football. Like why not? You have to declare if it's an onside kick now. That's what it is.
Which I hate that too.
I hate that. So there's no sneak attacking. I love the sneak attack onside kick.
How many times in Auburn did that pay us off?
Oh my gosh! Remember Saban's big in the national championship. McAfee had a couple that So it just. Stop tinkering with all these rules and trying to make it different than the game that everybody loves. But especially the tush push, Eagles are good at it. Find a way to stop it.
Exactly.
And again, I don't look back at the tush push of Super Bowl and be like, that's why they won the Super Bowl.
I think one of the arguments somebody tried to make was health concerns. Jason Kelce did it for how many years? Yeah. And not one back problem, neck problem, and he was just throwing his body limp underneath there. So if someone who has gone through it didn't have any health problems, you can't say it's a health concern.
Well, I saw maybe one guy, I can't remember who it was, but when's somebody going to pull a Palomalu and just go over the top and tackle the quarterback?
So that it was the college game.
Maybe, yeah. That's what it was.
Or no, it wasn't college. It was NFL because they were going to award. Washington. It was Washington game.
Oh, so
it was because Luvu wasn't it him that kept jumping over?
Maybe, yeah.
But the Washington game we kept jumping over, and they were going to award
a touchdown, and they did it again.
A touchdown if we kept doing it. So Yeah, you've got to come up with ways to do it, but then you can't penalize a team for trying.
Yeah.
You can't say they're intentionally causing bad snaps. No, they're trying to stop a play.
Well, and remember, a couple of colleges probably they've banned it now, but you couldn't usually push from behind. Like Reggie Bush, they did it in the Notre Dame game. They won the game and they didn't call it. But yeah, college did for years. Like nobody can push from behind. Now everybody can push.
You'll see them pulling.
You'll
see them pulling from the front and
Yeah.
throw them in front, and not a ref says anything.
So I think we're both in agreement that we think the tush push should stay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I think the people crying about it are the problem.
All right, next big thing, spring game. People are canceling their spring game. Here are the reasons why, they say.
Or altering it a good bit, like Bama.
No, they are canceling their spring
Well,
games.
I was saying not just canceling, there's some altering it too.
Yes.
They don't want it to stay the same.
Yes, so here's reasons number one. Number one is if you go into a spring game and you have a spring game, you have to show your hand to the rest of college football that this is our starters, these are not our starters. And once that happens, people from the transfer portal can start saying, hey, they're not even playing in the spring game. They're not so-and-so. Yeah. So it gives it just an open invitation of you're having to show your hand instead of letting these kids play all the way through the summer and then showing your hand the first game of the year. So these people are like, hey, I don't even want to show our hand because I don't want our kids to get, make their minds up about leaving so early before we really start to develop them. And then number two is players getting hurt. I'm really recalling the last time. I know Florida's had a couple guys that have torn ACLs in the last 10 years in the spring game, but I don't think I've really recalled that many crazy injuries that have happened from the spring game.
I mean, some people have gotten hurt, like a broken toe or something, and they'll put them out for a few weeks, but nothing major that I can recall either. I think that's more of a cop-out.
Yeah.
I think to solve that problem is put the restrictions on transfer portals.
Yeah.
Put restrictions on when they can and can't enter.
Yeah. So
when springtime comes around, if they're on the team that they're on and they don't like it, they have to wait for a period of time. They can't just dip out that week.
Yeah.
Like, give them restrictions. And I think it'll improve that where teams still want to do their spring game. But yeah, I don't think it's about not showing anything and showing their hand because you've always done a spring game.
Yeah.
You know what to show.
But there hasn't really been, not showing the hand of the plays, but showing who you're going to play. Like, best instance would be your brother. Okay, when he was at Auburn, when they had a spring game, nowadays, I think somebody like a Vanderbilt, an NC State, or whatever would have came along and said, listen, they got Antonio Mix, they got Courtney Taylor, Aramashadu, Anthony Mix, I'm sorry, Carnell and Ronnie. Like, you're a really good player. You could start for us.
And go somewhere else and play and all that.
Look at the spring game. You played a couple snaps, but you could be playing every down. I think that's what they're worried about is showing the hand of them, like who we're going to play and who we're going to be our guys. Because like I said, with the days of Alabama having 5 running backs and who's going to play until the season, it's over. Like, that's over now.
It's also gone another way in the productive aspect of that where players that were walk-ons earned starting positions.
Yeah, very true.
At Auburn.
Yes.
Recently, it was number 85 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a great spring game. He was getting talked about throughout the week.
Sean Jackson was another one from Trussville that earned a scholarship in the spring game.
Yep. So spring games help a lot of players as well, not just leave, but prove their worth in game time situations. Because you got players that can perform in practice all the time when the lights aren't on.
Yeah.
But then you got players that can't do much in practice for whatever reason. But when you put the lights on, they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So it gets you to figure things out. I don't think they should take away a spring game.
I'm with you. I think that's ridiculous too. So we're both even.
I'm just attacking their reasons. That's all I'm doing.
All right. Number 3, kind of some NBA news. Victor Wembanyama out for the season with a blood clot.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge news. I mean, they trade for Fox. They get, Chris Paul. This guy must have, I saw some tweet, Chris Paul must have broken like 20 mirrors growing up because every time he gets something going, either he gets hurt or somebody on his team gets hurt.
Yep.
I mean, the Spurs were kind of rising. They got 2 young superstars. Paul's a veteran guy. Now he's out for the season. They're not going to make the playoffs.
I could just see a Chris Paul meme of him walking under ladders.
Yeah, exactly.
Breaking mirrors and walking back under and breaking another mirror. Like
he's had the worst luck. Another headline, Luka plays the Mavs last night, has a triple-double. You see him, he's over there barking at the bench, barking at the GM. Came out yesterday. The bigger concerns about Luka was him drinking beer and smoking hookahs. Now, remember back in the day when Michael Jordan was smoking a cigar before every game? They were drinking beers after. What has changed? I know that the health part of it has changed so much. Luka's 25 years old. Remember the famous thing that went viral of Michael Finley taking the beer after they won the conference finals from him? Like,
he's a grown man.
He's a grown man. But they're like his in the next 5 years, you're going to see his health being affected by his habits off the court. I just don't see that, man.
You might in certain aspects just because nicotine and hookah and all that has still similar aspects to nicotine.
Yes.
You might still see some health concerns, but the way he exercises and trains and plays, he's sweating out those bad toxins, all that. I think he'll be just fine. But when you talk about the players being more concerned with health and all that, or the organization, I guess, more so. But you hear about all the players that are retired now talking about, oh, we used to smoke weed before every game. All this. There are no concerns that are going to be long-lasting for him.
But this is what they're coming out and they're saying in Dallas. I know it was a bad breakup, but like they're taking everything and stabbing it at him, saying this is what.
Do that.
And I just think they didn't want to pay him the Supermax deal. But I think now the Lakers, they have LeBron and him. This is a big deal for the biggest market in basketball.
And LeBron's on his way out.
Yes.
He's not got maybe 2 more years at most. So I think that was what they were seeing. They're like, we'll pay the money because we'll know he'll be worth it once LeBron's gone.
Yes. But is it one of those things, though, that he gets with LeBron, kind of like these players have gotten with Tom Brady, and maybe LeBron gets him on his workout and shows him, hey, you can still do these things, but if you'll take a little bit of time and take care of your body, you can play as long as I can and be the face of this franchise for the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I can see that being the case.
All right, last thing. All right, NIL. Obviously, we know it's very big. There's been some stories that have come out about Cooper Flagg at Duke of saying if every Duke alumni will donate $5, things like that.
If you think about that, it's simple money to somebody that pays you can think about the things you pay $100 to on a week, and $5 out of your pocket just to get a player to stay.
But I mean, imagine Cam Newton at Auburn that year. If he could have stayed another year, if they ever said, hey, every Auburn alumni, I'll donate 10, I'll donate 20. They would have
$50 million before he even steps on the field again.
That GoFundMe account would have been. So I do that to take you to this picture. We'll throw up this graphic right here. Here are the best top 25 NIL college football earners right now. Arch is at $6.5 million.
And he was the top earner last year. He didn't even start, so that tells you a lot.
You see Lagway with Florida's at 3.8. He's got the Gatorade deal. Beck goes to Miami, gets 4.2. Jeremiah Smith's around 4. These guys are making a lot of money. Auburn's got 3 guys on the list. Auburn has a lot of money, Chance. Like, I know you know that, but they got 3 guys. Both receivers, Coleman and Thompson.
Well, you see who else has a good bit.
South Carolina's got a couple of guys. And that's surprising. Obviously they're going to pay the quarterback summers, but to me, this shows you the money is there. Mm-hmm. But the thing is I looked it up. The number 2 pick in the NBA draft last year is making $12 million a year. Mm. And he got a 4-year, $51 million deal. So this 6 is still not close to 12. Now, granted, you play a lot less games. Granted that you're still in college and still with your buddies and living the time of your life and you're not a professional, do you think that it's worth it for some of these guys to stay more and make this kind of money instead of going pro? Would that entice you? Yeah. If they can go to Cooper Flagg and say, hey, you're going to get $12 million a year, we're going to give you $10 million to stay at Duke for 1 more year. You think that would be worth it?
I don't even think it involves entirely the amount of money going higher and higher each time. Here's all the aspects to consider. People went pro because they needed money.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with I'm going pro because I love pro.
Yes, exactly.
They went pro because they needed money for their lifestyle, their family, their choices, whatever. But they wanted money. Now they're getting money in college. The most purest form of football besides like high school Friday night lights.
Yeah.
But like the football that everybody loves so much and enjoys and gets together for a whole tailgating weekend, stuff like that. They're not going to give that up being the top dog player in an entire country of how many teams? 125 or something like that? Yeah. So you're one of the top 25 players making money out of that many million of players. Hundreds of thousands of players, I guess. Yeah. So it's a lot, I'm sure. You got 100 on each team, it's about. But between that amount of players, you're the top 25 earned. Why would you give that up to go make just a little bit more in the NFL, but you're a nobody, most likely?
Yeah.
You've got to sit on the bench or try to earn your spot again and try to become big again.
Well, you saw that. I mean, I know you love that little new Johnny Manziel when he's bringing back the old players, but you saw Tavon Austin. Yeah. You saw Tavon Austin. His comment was like, man, I went from dominating every play and being the best guy to where I'm going against Patrick Peterson, going against Richard Sherman. Like, it's like, you're a nobody. So again, we've talked about it before about the reason why people go to Tuscaloosa and go to Knoxville and go to Gainesville and Auburn instead of LA is because everybody knows who they are on those campuses. Mm-hmm. They don't know college players unless you're Reggie Bush or Matt Leinart. People probably can name less than 5 players on UCLA and USC's rosters. Yeah. That's why they go to these college towns. But yes, we knew this was eventually going to butt heads where they're going to be making enough money. But is it enough to keep some of the biggest stars to stay? I think so.
And see, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think it needs to be higher or anything. I think it's more than enough. I think the players are willing to stay. They just need the money to be enough. For what they're just making their junior or sophomore year, they're going to want that or equal or more. But at a certain rate, once you put a max or a cap or whatever, I still think players will stay that senior year at that cap. Yeah. Because they're going to want to keep playing in this environment. Yeah. Or they might even leave to go to a different school and get the same cap amount. I mean, but they just want to set another record.
If Arch is getting 6 the next 3 years, that's $18, $19 million.
Well, so with there not being a cap, that's going to be 6 this year, maybe 8 next year, and it'll go up until they do set a cap. Yeah. So that's just the peak of it. Yeah. That's not even his endorsement deals or anything else. That's just NIL.
I mean, Kansas State's paying their quarterback $1.8 million. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, that very interesting. I love to hear that. The last thing I'll say, did you watch the hockey championship? Canada did beat USA.
I saw the highlights again. I saw Canada won.
So still wasn't enticing you to come over.
Yeah, I mean, hockey's just not my sport for that, anyways. But I thought it was the right team probably won.
Well, Connor McDavid, probably the best player in the NHL, scores game-winning goal. So yes, I'll be interested to see. We got baseball coming up. I'm a big baseball guy. I'm doing it 6 nights a week right now. You're not much of a baseball guy. I know you like the home run derby and stuff like that when it does. But what could is anything in baseball that could change your mind? We'll get that once baseball starts. Probably, I don't think so.
The banana ball. I've watched more clips of that.
Savannah Bananas,
regular ball,
and maybe that's why there's a place at Savannah Bananas. So yeah. So those are our headlines this week. Let's cover last Saturday real quick in our plays. Bama beats Kentucky 96-83. You had Kentucky. I had Bama. I think it was a big win for Bama at home. Kentucky kind of got out to a lead early. They won. Auburn crushes Georgia. Oh, yeah. Auburn is number 1 in the country. I mean, it wasn't their best game, but still, Broomscott had 31-14. Like, holy cow, man! This guy is. I mean, looking at Player of the Year, I think him and Flagg are probably right there neck and neck. Florida crushes LSU. They did lose last night to Georgia. I couldn't have believed that. They got down 26 at one point. My brother hates me to hear you say this, but I think Florida's just too inconsistent. I know they're number 3 in the country, but they just sometimes just don't show up, and you can't have that when you come into March. You got to be consistent, and that's why I thought and told you last week that Auburn's still the better team than them, even though they beat them.
The whole AP reports and all that have said Auburn's the most prepared and ready team for a March Madness run.
100%.
So
they're consistent. Tennessee goes on the road and beats A&M.
Well, Alabama got their win, 96-83.
Like I said,
77.
Tennessee goes on the road and beat A&M. I think you had Tennessee in that game. Yeah. So Tennessee's defense is what you call it. And look at that. They stifle Texas A&M, hold them to 69 points. That's not that many points in today's college basketball. So a big win for Tennessee. They're trending in the right direction. Other one, Houston beats Iowa State. I think we both thought that was going to happen. And then the last one, Arkansas beats Missouri at home. John Calipari, that team is 16-11.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yes, but still, I think that they have the talent to make an NCAA tournament. That's a team that could really have to win some games down the stretch. But even a record like that in the SEC, I think that's a worthy tournament team.
Look at that Arizona BYU score, 96-90.
96, yeah. So again, that's what a college basketball score looks like these days. So yeah, it was a very interesting week. Of basketball and sports, and again, we'll do some headlines until we kind of get in, like I said, the meat potatoes of things.
We had Tuesday's games last night.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some games last night. Like I said, Georgia beat Florida at home, was a big win. Bama crushes Mississippi State. I'll cover that in my Bama segment. But yeah, we're 2 weeks away from the tournament, SEC tournament. I can't wait to do our SEC tournament special and pick it because it's going to be pretty much like a March Madness. I know you'll have Auburn winning.
Oh yeah, I've already got Auburn predicted and everything.
So yeah, it'll be fun. But yes. Headlines here on Tide and Tigers. We'll get to our Combine special, but we appreciate you. And like I said, we're so close to March Madness, and I can't wait to do our brackets. And like I said, we'll do a bracket challenge, and that'll be fun for our viewers. But we'll see you back on Tide and Tigers.